All right, so my name's Corey Noxon. I'm an archaeologist. I'm studying at Ritsumeikan University to get my PhD in archaeology. I study the Jomon period in Japan, which goes back quite a long way, about 16,000 years ago, until about 2,500 years ago. So I'm really excited that you guys are interested in archaeology, and hopefully I'll be able to answer some of your questions here. Question 1. Have you ever found any Egyptian tombs? Well, the problem with that is I don't study Egypt. I study Japan. So I have been to tombs in Japan. If you've ever heard of kofun, which are big mounded tombs, I've visited some of those before. I haven't discovered them personally. But no, I have not found any Egyptian tombs, although hopefully in the future, someday, I'll get a chance to visit Egypt and go and see it. Ever since I was little, probably like some of you, Egyptian archaeology has been something really interesting to me. Pyramids, Sphinx, other things like that. So if I ever get the chance, I'd definitely like to go visit. All right, number 2. What's the most recent artifact you've found? Let's see, I only get a chance to go out into the field about once a year. I didn't have a chance to go this summer, but I did go last summer. I found pottery, actually. So usually pottery is something that archaeologists find quite a bit. Pottery is really strong and durable and can last a long time. So it's something that people make and have made in the past that preserves really well. So I found some pretty pieces of pottery. That's probably the most recent thing I've found. Number 3. What do you have to be good at to be an archaeologist? Archaeology is a really broad field. It studies the past of people. So there are many different aspects, many different parts of human life that you can study. I think a key factor is to be curious, to want to learn, to want to find out more about people in the past. I think without curiosity, it's difficult to be an archaeologist. Number 4, what's the most important thing you found? Now, this is a tricky question because you have to ask yourself, what does it mean for something to be important? For me, it's not a single item that's important or not important. It's when you take all of these pieces and put them together. It's like evidence, putting together a puzzle, right? So a single puzzle piece is nice, but it's when you gather all of the puzzle pieces together and put them together that you're able to see what the picture is. That's what's important. So some of those pottery pieces, like I talked about, that helps you to know what age or what time a site was used. Sometimes you come across bones. It could be animal bones, so that way you know what people are eating. It could be the bones of people, and you can learn a lot from skeletons as well, as far as, what type of people were living there. You can even learn what type of foods did they eat, were they healthy or not, or other things like that. So it's usually not just one piece of evidence. You're usually going to be having a lot of different pieces together that gives you a bigger picture. So, everyone needs to help and work together. And that's what's important, I think. Number 5. What's the weirdest object you found? Well, weird is kind of hard. I have been involved with excavations where they have, we've been digging at cemeteries, so you've excavated human bones. Now, bones aren't necessarily weird, but it's something maybe you don't come across very much in everyday life. So that's maybe something not weird, but something special that I've excavated before. Number 6. Why did you want to become an archaeologist? like I mentioned before, as far as an important thing to be an archaeologist is to be curious. And I'm very interested in the past. I want to know how people lived, what they were like in the past. And for me, in addition to that, I was very interested in Japan. I had studied about Japan when I was in college before. And so studying archaeology in Japan was kind of putting those two pieces together. I was really interested in the past. I was interested in archaeology, and I was interested in Japan, so I put them together, and that's where I am today, studying Japanese archaeology. Number 7. What's the most shocking discovery I found? I don't think I've really found any shocking or newsworthy discoveries. I was involved in a excavation, a trip to Lake Biwa before, which was really interesting. So we actually took a boat up to the north part of Lake Biwa, and we used an underwater robot and explored underwater in an area where they have previously found a lot of pots and other artifacts. We found a few things here and there. It wasn't shocking, but it was really cool to use that kind of technology. It was really fun, and it's something I hope I can do again sometime. As far as something that's a little out of the ordinary, excavating human remains is something that's not super common. It's not shocking, but when you think about everyday life, it's something that you don't come across very often. So that's something that was a little different. Number 8. Have you found any artifacts or technology that we still use today? Again, I only get a chance personally to go out about once a year to excavate. So, hey everybody, I'm going to stop past Corey really quick here. Pottery was made by the Jomon people for over 10,000 years, and pottery really hasn't changed much since that time. So in a second, I'm going to say that I've never excavated any technology or tools that we still use today, and that is wrong. I did it quite a bit, and that is pottery. All right, we're going to go cut back now. I haven't personally, but as archaeologists, we do find a lot of technology or tools that we kind of still use today. Going back again, the Jomon period is really old, so they don't have metal. They didn't do metal working at that point in time. So the tools were made of stone. But you'll still find stone axes, stone knives, or other things like that. And the technology has changed somewhat, but the basic function, the basic shape, other things like that, are still pretty similar a long time ago that they are today. Number 9. What is the oldest thing you've ever found? Let's see. I would say, again, probably pieces of pottery, Jomon period pottery. I found some Middle Jomon pieces, which go back about 5,000 years ago. I can't exactly remember. I may have found a few pieces going back even earlier than that, to the early Jomon period. So that's going beyond 5,000 years ago. So really old stuff. And it's neat because you're able to hold on to something that someone made thousands and thousands of years ago. They made with their own 2 hands, and you're sitting in present day time, and you're holding this same thing. And so it kind of feels like you have a bit of a connection to those people in the past. It's something I love about archaeology. Number 10, have you ever broken an artifact? Actually, breaking artifacts is something that's kind of common. I'd say all archaeologists have done it. Sometimes when you're digging down, you find some artifact, a piece of pottery or something like that. You may go to try and pull it out, and maybe it's stuck a little bit and it'll break, and you feel really bad about it. So yes, I have broken artifacts, and I feel bad about it. Archaeology isn't all about shocking finds. It's not about finding the largest artifact or the oldest artifact or these amazing golden statues or other things like that. Again, the goal is to try and understand people in the past. I'm in my office right now, and you see these boxes here behind me, and these are all boxes of different artifacts. If you look over here too as well, you can see all of those boxes, all full of artifacts. So there's a lot of material to try and go through and work through. So even though excavation is a fun part of the job, it's not the only part. There is too much for one person to try and study all on their own. So with all of the different archaeologists and scientists, everyone coming in and working together to try and understand our past, I think that's something that's really special and really important. And it's why I do archaeology.